Hey, super cool party people. Do I have an awesome podcast for you? It's called Podcrashed. Podcrashed, unlike most podcasts, can be a bit of a train wreck. Join them every week where they talk to different types of guests. Enjoy the show and stay cool.
Shut up, and sit down.
And there's some really, there's one that's like their drag queen's name. It's like pedophilia. So like, you know what I mean? Like there's not the line that you're thinking of is like way further out than you expect it to be.
Bob the drag queen stuff should all be Bob the, and then whatever the product is, Bob the t-shirt,
right? Bob the cosmetic line.
Yeah, Bob the primer.
She should open her own fruit stand and call it Bob's for apples. Bob's apples. Bob's for apples.
There you go.
Apples.
That'd be neat.
I told you about my Sob the drag queen, right?
No.
Sob?
Yeah. So I only thought of it because I thought the name first, and I thought it sounded like a drag queen that like performs but then just cries the whole time. And called Sob the drag queen, or Meryl Weep,
That's a good one.
or Kryleen Warnos.
That's not. Well, okay.
Oh,
It's a different crowd of people.
But okay.
Ready?
Yes. It feels like we haven't recorded in a very long time.
I don't think we have, really. A couple weeks, maybe.
Right? We've been stockpiling them, but we ran out.
Yeah.
So, okay. So welcome, Jeannie.
Hello, thank you. Yes.
Thank you for joining us again.
I'm always happy to be here.
Except for when I'm not, but I won't tell you then.
Well, I wouldn't be happy to be here if I'm not here. Oh, was that the joke?
No, joke is a loose term. I wouldn't.
Sorry, I gotta pick up where we were.
Now I gotta
Cause
find an
space.
organic way to bring up
Cause
space again.
space.
God damn it.
Just reference the Dave Matthews song.
Space?
The space between.
Oh, I
The
thought.
space between what's wrong and right.
Yeah, is that the
If it's
open
black
your
and it's white?
world to me? No, that's a different one.
They
Where
all
he's
sound
like-
the same.
Yeah, they do. Sorry,
Dave
Matthews
Matthews.
fans.
Remember when he was in Because of Winn-Dixie?
No. Actually, can keep with the theme of this episode. I have never seen Winn-Dixie.
Well, in all fairness, I think you were in your mid-20s when that came out. So
that is true. That is not aimed towards me.
no, in fact, it would be creepy if you had seen it.
Oh, well, I think it taught me what a Winn-Dixie was, because I don't think I'd ever heard of that.
It's like a Piggly Wiggly, right? Isn't it a southern?
Yeah, it's like a southern
supermarket,
chain.
or a Publix, or as I like to call it, Publix, because that's what I always see when I read the sign. Freudian slip. Okay, so today we are doing, I don't know what we're going to officially call it, but it's like, what did I miss? Mm-hmm. Right? Which is...
we had Anna gave me, and Jeannie, I guess, the assignment to think back to when we were younger and to something that was popular, but we didn't watch.
Right.
And so we had to go back and watch it.
So, like, something that was, like, everybody else seemed to, like, catch on to and, like, really be obsessed with, or, like, it had its pop culture moment, but for some reason we as children just
missed us.
didn't partake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My list was extremely long, so...
Did you just...
It was really, really hard for me to find
Yeah,
something.
you were, like, the opposite problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had way too many things.
I ended up going to an IMDb, most famous child movies of the 90s thing, and I reached number 47 before I found one that I hadn't seen.
I
Yeah.
googled a list and I had like tons from there.
Did you just watch one, April, or did you watch?
I just had only time to watch one. I
Yeah,
watched
that's okay.
part of another movie.
Yeah.
Which I plan on finishing.
Okay. Well, that's good. It didn't you didn't be like, oh, assignment's over, bye.
Well, I mean, I'm like curious now.
I'm in now.
I'm at a good. I stopped at a good point where I'm like, okay, I gotta find out what's happening.
I'm on this train ride as it careens off the cliff. I can't jump out now. Okay, then who would like to go first?
I'll go, I guess.
Okay, April.
Okay, so I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh.
Because
I get it because, space does.
Space,
They're
kind of, yeah.
Spoiler alert, because they're aliens.
Which you don't get that until the end.
Right. You know there's something off about them, though.
Yeah. But, yeah, when I was younger, I obviously knew about it. Mm-hmm. Tons of people in Springport were...
It's a pop culture thing that you know enough about it, even if you've never seen it, because you just pay attention,
Liz loved it and watched it all the time, and I was just... I don't know if it's because if something's popular, I'm very slow to, like, check it out. Because I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to be a follower. Damn it.
Don't tell me what I need to like.
Exactly. Yeah. So I finally watched it, and I really liked it. I almost texted Liz saying, why the hell didn't you tie me down and make me watch this before?
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, maybe, like, I just had to wait till now to really appreciate it and like it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm always curious when people watch it at a younger age, like how much of it you get.
Because I remember seeing it very, very young and not understanding anything
there's a lot of
happening,
like references, or I won't even say double entendres because there's a lot of it's in your face.
Yeah, but like an 8-year-old doesn't know.
No, but you've always.
I had no idea what the little gold spandex boy was for.
Right, or the touch me song.
Yeah.
And you get that it's kind of supposed to be something, but you don't really get what they're trying to touch. You know.
Oh my god! I watched it at work. I had have the volume down really low.
Oh, you didn't even have headphones on?
No. Because, I mean, like, everyone, I mean, it's nighttime at work, and everyone, I mean, we all watch, like, Game of Thrones and stuff.
Oh, yeah, then that seems like PG.
But still, it was like, oh my gosh, this song is so loud. I, like, turn on the captions so I can still hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
But, it was really good, but I made kind of notes as I was watching it, just kind of thoughts that came to me.
Yeah.
So right in the beginning, after the wedding, when he starts singing,
Damn It, Janet?
Damn It, Janet, or something like that, what made me, like, cackling, laughing, was just the people in the background singing off-key.
Yeah.
Just, like, going, Janet.
Janet.
Something
to tell and nice, damn it. Janet.
Yeah.
Did you notice that the people in the wedding were the cast? Like the priest and the people in the wedding.
Yeah, they were the people at
the
aliens.
Tim Curry was like, I think, the priest or something, and everyone else. Yeah, that took me a couple of views before I realized that.
I noticed him right away.
Yeah, well, he's got a very distinctive face.
Yeah,
it's hard to miss.
Yeah, but so I noticed him, and then the right when they start singing, there's the farmer and the girl standing outside of the barn. Mm-hmm. They look like that old farmer.
Yeah, American Gothic.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, that's a little too weird or just like coincidental. And then that picture shows up in the mansion.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, they're aliens. They're modeling themselves off of that painting.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay. I kept like the movie, it's supposed to be a play, first of all, right? It's not really supposed to be a movie.
Yeah.
So like
it was a stage production, I think, then they decided to make a movie out of it.
Yeah. And I could definitely tell that it was supposed to be a play, like stage production, not in a bad way, but just because like the way they're talking to the camera, or they'd always, I think like Tim Curry, once in a while he'd look directly into the camera and make a comment. So I'm like, oh, like I can totally see
which
this
is why
as a
it still
stage
really
play.
works when people do it on stage in front of the projection of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I wrote down in all capitals, holy shit, why did I never watch this?
So at what point in the movie did that moment come? Like, what was the first point in the movie you're like, oh my god, this is so good?
Probably right when they got to the mansion.
Yeah. Before they sang Time Warp or after? Because Time Warp's a good number.
It is.
Like, it's like the big one, and there's all the, what do they call them? The extras that sing.
The chorus?
Yeah, but don't they have a name for them?
Oh, the Transylvanians.
Transylvanians or whatever. Yeah. Where, they're just all tap dancing with and I like it because all of them look like people's friends.
Yeah.
Like the director and the writer was just like, okay, just everyone bring 2 friends. So they got like their college roommate and the guy who lives down the block, and they're like, yeah, we'll put you in a sparkly jumper and some tap shoes.
Yeah, you just gotta jump
around.
And
you just gotta jump to the left and jump to the right when they tell you to.
And a couple of them didn't look like they really knew what they were doing.
No.
But it was like, that made it charming, where it's not like a polished movie.
Oh gosh, yeah, I think a lot of the flaws are what make it so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it does look like just a group of people who were like, let's make a movie. We got a castle for a weekend. Let's do it.
Well, it's supposed to feel vaguely uncomfortable and,
Yeah.
and like a little bit off, and I think that adds to it.
Yeah.
Like there's just some guy in the background just not knowing what's happening. You're like, okay,
Yeah. Like, some of the times I could have sworn, like, Tim Curry was, like, busting up a little bit. Or kind of, like, like, I don't know if that's his character or if he's, like, trying not to laugh.
Yeah, it is one of those movies where it looks like everybody is having, like, so much fun.
Well, it's because you know that they're all unconsolably high. Like, especially, like, we're talking, like, a bunch of theater performers in the 70s filming a movie. Like, you know it was, like it looked like Snoop Dogg's tour bus in between takes. Like, I'm surprised they didn't, like, smoke at all during the movie. Like, that just seems like it would be something you just see people in the background. Yeah.
I think the moment where it was like, holy shit, why have I never watched this, was, like, right when Tim Curry came down.
He's got that great entrance.
Yeah, he has a great entrance, and his song, I just love his song, too.
That's a good one. And then he throws off the cape, and he's just, like... that lingerie underneath, and you're just like, work it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, he looks so good, and for being such a dark featured man, zero body hair,
right? I often wondered if that was a choice he made.
And did he have to like stick with it? Because once you like start shaving your arms, you gotta keep
hairy
doing it.
time. So I think anyone who wasn't hairy like made a choice.
Yeah,
Probably.
First thing I'll ask him if I ever meet him. Hey, did you shave in the 70s?
Is that like a natural or did
my next note was, I love Tim Curry so much more now.
Yeah,
just for
he's
doing
so
that.
good in it. Yeah,
so good. Oh my god.
He's like the only one who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But like we said, like the not knowing is but it's like nice that it's kind of helmed by someone who's like, showed up and just like did what he wanted, and everyone's like, yeah, that's good, just keep doing that. Like the one
like reminded
name
me like,
that they
like
got.
a Ethan Dawson Bagley almost.
Yeah.
Or, I shouldn't say his name. EDB. A guy we went to school with, where like he was in the plays, but he would kind of ad lib all of his lines a little bit.
Yeah.
But he always got you back to where you're supposed to be, so you knew where you were.
It was like a natural talent to like keep on track, but also have fun with it. Not everybody has that, especially high school actors.
Yeah.
So
very true.
People's friends you hire off the street.
Yeah.
My next note was that I kept noticing that whenever like Tim Curry or someone had a drink, they could kind of just throw it all around.
Yeah.
Where they weren't. Again, it's like not a movie where you're watching a movie, but it's still very much a stage play where he's not being nice with his drink and make sure he doesn't spill. He like just like shoves someone out of the way and half his drink slops out of the glass.
Yeah.
It struck me that Janet, when they got stranded in their car, she said, "Oh no, I should go with you so you don't find someone and fall in love with them and never come back." Where I'm like, you hypocrite! She was like hitting on and flirting with everyone in there that came up to her, pretty much.
Right.
She like she loved Frank, Tim Curry's character, and then she had sex with the golden
Rocky,
the Frankenstein,
the original
basically.
Rocky, before
Frankenstein's
Rocky
monster.
the Monster. Yeah.
And so I'm like, you're such a hypocrite. You're like,
Yeah.
your fiance only slept with Frank,
Right? Which I don't know. I always like to think it started off like a change in their relationship where they were just like going forward, probably a lot more open to like, group sexual situations. Like they're like, we met these aliens and it was really weird, but then we became swingers.
We had this awesome orgy.
Yeah.
Well, it does have a sequel, but it doesn't really continue the story.
No, it's just
per se.
part of the same cast, right? Shocked.
It's supposed to be Janet and Brad.
But are they in it?
Yeah, they go back to Dayton, Ohio, and are on a TV show, and that in a mental institution.
It's called Shock something, right?
Shock Treatment.
Shock Treatment.
I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and that's as close to the plot as I can get you.
It had it, yeah.
But
Tim Curry's not in it.
Rick Mail is in it.
That's right.
As one of the, he doesn't have any lines. He's like an orderly, and he sings in one song.
Yeah, and it's because it's pre-Young Ones, pre-Drop Dead
Oh, he's
Fred.
a baby. Yeah, but
Shock Treatment.
But it's not the same Brad or Janet. I don't think. I think
No.
it's 2 new Brads and Janet.
But it's got the same secondary cast. So the actor who wrote it, who played not Igor.
Riff Raff.
Who wrote the
Richard O'Brien.
It's him and like Columbia. The actress was Columbia and Magenta are both all in it, but they're different characters, and it's not really a sequel. But I think that they wanted to like hype on the fact that the first one kind of did really well.
Yeah.
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 this worked. Let's make a sequel.
Find it, it's worth a watch, but it's not. It's you can't ever find it anywhere.
I'm sure there's like a Blu-ray collector's edition or something. They always
gotta be. Yeah.
They seem to do that now.
Criterion
where they do like a collector's edition of some movie, and you're like, really?
I love that when I saw a black and white DVD box.
Yeah,
of like just looking.
It's like right in between like a Bergman film and like Citizen Kane, and you're like, what? Are we really opening up what the Criterion film is now? Yeah.
Let's see. My other notes were I thought the weird people were supposed to be aliens, but like you don't really get that they're aliens until like the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because even like when he was singing, when Tim Curry was singing his song, he was saying, "I'm a transvestite, transsexual from Transylvania."
Yeah, which is a real place, Transylvania.
Yeah, but it's also the planet Transylvania.
Yeah, so I thought they were just from Transylvania. Why are they aliens?
Yeah, right? You're like, I guess illegal aliens? Is that what they were implying?
Jump country?
Right? It's because of that and movies about vampires that I just assumed everyone in Transylvania kind of just was like a white person who kind of spoke like this. Like it just like a really like you're like they don't
have real good PR. Transylvania.
No, they're like European. I watched an interview with I think it was Kristen Bell or somebody who said they filmed a movie there, and everywhere you go there's like stands with like Transylvania T-shirts, and like they really play up the fact that they're
like
stereotypes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well they're Eastern European, right? It's like
I think so.
over kind of by Russia.
I have no idea.
Like Estonia and stuff, where it's up in the Balkan Peninsula or whatever. I don't know.
Sure.
I say this like I know anything about geography.
There's mountains because Dracula.
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah. Dracula.
How is that not a thing? Dracula. How come he is
No,
not?
that was his actual name.
That was a thing.
Dracula is
No, but I'm talking about the musician Drake. How come he hasn't taken that yet? I mean, like Dracula.
There was a Duckula cartoon.
Yes, there was a Blackula.
Yeah.
There was a vampire in Brooklyn. Kind of similar. It was Eddie Murphy.
That movie was bad, though.
Yeah, it was.
I never seen Blackula, but I would say it's probably better than.
I don't think it could be.
Yeah.
What was your favorite song in Rocky Horror? If you had to pick just one.
Tim Curry's song.
Yeah.
Definitely. The first one.
Yep. Just called Sweet Transvestite, right?
Yeah, Sweet Transvestite.
Yeah.
Now, did you notice that the one song was Meatloaf? And his character has a name, but Eddie. And he busts in and he's got that head wound. And he drives around singing.
That was like, that kind of threw me off where I didn't know like where he came in. But then I guess he was like kind of another Frankenstein-ish person.
There's a lot of story plot to that movie I've never picked up on.
Yeah.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, sure, if you know, please.
No, I've seen this movie.
Well, I've seen it too, but I just never
paid
enough
enough
attention.
I've seen documentaries.
Yeah.
I'm into that. No, Eddie was someone that they picked up.
Okay.
That Columbia met and brought there, and then Frank had an affair with him because that's what he does. He just sort of like has an affair with everybody around. And then she got mad, so he got mad too, and then he like tried to murder him, and that's when he comes out like half murdered, and then actually gets murdered and then served to them for dinner.
But after he sings a song.
Yes.
Yeah. This movie always makes me think of, as a secondary, the Spice World movie, because both Meatloaf and the dude who wrote it, Richard O'Brien, are in the Spice World movie.
Yeah.
Richard O'Brien plays he's the bald guy who keeps chasing them, trying to take photographs of them and like quoting them, like, you know, they say stuff or do stuff and it ends up in the paper. He's the one that is doing it. So now I always associate both of them with that movie, and they're both in Rocky Horror.
Who is he in Rocky Horror?
Riff Raff. Oh, Meatloaf?
No, the dude from the photographer from.
He's Riff Raff, the butler there. He
Really?
just has a blonde wig on or whatever.
He wrote and I think directed.
Yeah.
They look completely different. I wouldn't.
Well, he's aged to 25 years
he's
or whatever
not
the difference
hunched over either.
Yeah.
So
you take a hump off someone's back and they're like a braid.
I can't say it's any less pale.
It's the Igor equivalent of taking the glasses off the smart girl.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking the hump off the back.
And you're sexy.
Right?
Jeez.
Any final thoughts on your Rocky Horror?
I just really want to see it as a play.
Right? I would love to go. I've never seen it live.
No, I saw it like once. In the play.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I want to do this.
You missed out because like 5 or 6 years. Well, maybe it's closer to 10 years now. They used to do it at the Michigan Theater like every couple of months because Ashley and a bunch of people from Springport were involved in it. Yeah. So and they would switch off roles.
I know I'm kicking myself.
Right. But maybe you can get them back
just to
together.
Do a background role.
Right.
Would have been fun. Because it looks like they had just because it looks like they had so much fun.
Yeah.
In the movie, I can imagine it being really fun.
It's one of those shows that I imagine it's fun to watch, but I imagine it's 10 times more fun to do, and that's that's why it's constantly being put on places, because it just seems like one that like would be really fun to do.
Right.
Because there's really not a lot of production value that goes in, so I think most of it's just hanging around and singing the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really liked it. Go watch it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, if you're weird like me. Definitely
so
go watch
one other person in the universe that hasn't seen
But at the same time, you might have a point what you said earlier. Maybe like younger you wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like maybe it takes a while or some perspective.
You have seen this, but we're too young at the time to fully appreciate it.
There's a lot of stuff that I like try to go back later and watch because I'm like I didn't remember liking it, but in all fairness, I didn't. I saw it when I was. You know, like I saw Lost in Translation when I was like 12, and I'm like, of course I'm not gonna think it's good.
Yeah.
Why did you watch Lost in Translation?
I don't know, because it had Bill Murray in it. I don't know. But it's one of those situations where you're
so weird as a kid.
Where you're like, maybe go back, give it another try if you've, Anyway. All right, would you like to go next, Jeannie?
I can go. So I'm gonna say that I did write down notes. I feel really unprepared. I did write down notes. I had like 4 pages of notes that I wrote down while watching this last night at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And then they're at my house now. I don't have them. So I'm gonna try to remember. I watched Space Camp.
Ooh, I've never seen Space Camp.
I don't think I've ever seen it. No.
Yeah, the 1986 Spielberg family film about space camp.
Okay.
So 86, he would have been. Goonies was 85.
Yes, I believe this is right after Goonies.
So so Spielberg was still doing kids films.
Possibly right after Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Because it's Kate Capshaw.
Okay.
Is the main
was Spielberg's wife.
Yeah, who I never realized has a really weird speaking voice.
Does she?
It's very apparent in this. Sometimes you think she's from the South, and then sometimes she just randomly pauses in the middle of sentences. I never noticed it before, but watching this, it was a real, Yeah. Or maybe she was having a bad year. I don't know.
Who knows?
But a fun fact about this film, before I go into what it was about, this film was released the June after the January that the Challenger blew up.
Oh.
Yes.
So
and one of the pivotal moments of it involves like an oxygen tank or whatever exploding in the exact same way.
Oh no.
Did
they change it up like how after 9/11 they had to remove any reference to blowing up a building in New York at all?
Well, they don't ever mention Challenger, if that's what you're asking.
So I think in the 80s they're like, sorry, but this is how we made the movie. Tough shit. That, whereas in 2001 they're like, oh god, now we have to CGI out the Twin Towers out of everything.
Yeah. They don't die. No one dies in this movie. I don't think this is a kid's movie, first of all. No one dies in it. There's no sex or blood or anything.
Yeah.
But there's so much technical terms, particularly in the last half when they are accidentally in space, because they go to space camp and then they accidentally go into space in a series of zany misadventures.
So since I've never seen it, you might have to tell me. So I know there's kids and there's like the ages range, right?
Yeah. Okay. So
why are they all at space? I thought space camp was particularly a young person.
Okay. So Kate Capshaw is like this hotshot pilot, and she wants to go into space because who I thought was her father, Tom Skerritt, turned out to be her husband. Towards the end, and I was like, that's not her dad. I was amazed.
Tom Skerritt.
Yes, the whole time I thought it was her dad.
Yeah.
He had been into space, and now he he's a commander. I don't know what commanders do when they're not in space, but he's a commander.
Yeah.
And she's a captain. She flies around. Mm-hmm. So she didn't get to go into space, so she's gonna go be a counselor at space camp, which he runs,
because that seems like the second best thing to going to space.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
is going and teaching a bunch of kids
have
how
all this
space
training
works.
to go to space, and then hey, go teach at camp.
She's angry about it, but she gets really invested when she meets Leah Thompson.
Yeah,
because Leah Thompson is like a younger her, and she's like, I'm going to be in the Air Force, and I'm going to go to space, and I'm going to be
How old's Leah
awesome.
Thompson around this time? Is she like teen or?
It's post Some Kind of Wonderful. So, like, yeah, maybe, like, 17 or 18.
Even though she's probably in her 20s, but yeah, she's supposed to be like 17 or 18. Okay.
And then Tate Donovan.
Ooh.
Remember Tate Donovan is the male lead.
Damn, that's a deep cut. Tate
Donovan.
Donovan.
Deep cut. He's okay in it. He doesn't do a lot. Like,
No.
he's not particularly smarmy or, like, funny. Like, he doesn't really have that much of a character. He's kind of like the cool guy who doesn't want to be there. But
He's the Tate Donovan.
Yeah.
He's just the same character he always
But
plays.
he's not, like, mean or, like, a jerk or anything, so you really can't, like, hate him or like him. Or he's there. But the whole point...
They should put that on his tombstone.
He's there.
He was there.
No, the only thing you get is his dad, he didn't want to go to space camp, but his dad wanted him to go to space camp, so they compromised and his dad bought him a Jeep. And now he's in space camp. Which I thought space camp was one of those things that you had to, like, have qualifications for and, like, had to be, like, super smart and
I think you
stuff.
had to, like, test into it, plus it cost a shit ton of money.
Yeah, like, I thought it was, like, a big... At least they make it sound like it's this huge deal.
Yeah.
There's got to be some space camps just for, like, regular derpy
He
kids.
doesn't want to be there at all.
Hopefully not this one, though, if they're...
And so Kate Capshaw, because obviously they're in the same group, all the main
Yeah.
Kate Capshaw's like, well, then you can be the shuttle commander, and Leah Thompson's like, I don't want to be the shuttle commander, and that's like a major like friction. But they get over it and make out on a beach, so it's not super bad. And then baby Kelly Preston is in it, and like, just curly hair everywhere.
Yeah.
Just like a
pre-Scientology Kelly Preston.
Yeah, as like a ditzy genius, I think.
Named Christmas Jones.
No, her name is Tish, because I kept thinking they were calling her Fish.
Tish. That sounds like an 80s bimbo name.
And she's like a Bailey girl, but she like
Tish.
has like a photographic memory, so she's like real smart.
Yeah, because dumb people are smart too.
And she wants to meet aliens, that's why she's there.
Of course.
Okay, and then there's little Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes. Leaf Phoenix?
When he's Leaf, this is like his first role.
So before they left the cult.
Yeah, he looks like a different person as a child versus the adults. I think they swapped him out.
That hair lip is the only thing that stays the same.
Yeah, that's true. But he's there, and he's like a little kid, and he's obsessed with Star Wars, but he's also a genius. Mm-hmm. Because everyone's a genius. I don't know.
Okay.
And he just wants to meet Star Wars.
Yeah, and the only thing you get about him is that he went to junior space camp 2 years in a row, and he thinks he earned this. And Kate Capshaw's like, okay, you can bunk with a bunch of 17-year-olds, little child, and just like, and nobody like there's no parents involved.
I
like,
can
there's
see
no,
why
like,
Joaquin Phoenix ended up
transfer.
so weird now.
Yeah. And then the other member of the team, and I'm going to consider them a member, is a robot that talks.
Oh, yes.
It's like a weird little
It would
circle
not be
BB-8 thing with like spider arms with wheels on it.
It would not be an 80s movie without a talking
And
robot.
and a Joaquin Phoenix likes it, and it's his best friend.
Of course.
Yeah, so he teaches it to like do stuff and everything, but it has like full exposition, like this little robot. It'll like be on its own, and it'll be like, friends with Max forever. Because how they get into space, the robot's the problem.
Yeah.
How they get into space is Max, who's the little Joaquin Phoenix kid, says, I wish I could go into space. And the robot's like, we're best friends. I'm going to send you into space. And he goes and he talks to the NASA computer. And he's like, how can we get Max into space? And the NASA's computer, it's like out loud, is like, let's think about this, and like list scenarios that they can get this kid into space with, like, so it like brainstorms with the NASA computer.
Is this this is a kind of a concept of like how we shouldn't let technology become too
Technology
powerful?
talking to each other?
It is, because it opens the door, it rolls in the computer room, nobody's there, and then its little head pops out and light shoots out of its neck. And then it talks to the computer, just like,
Does it look
hello, how are you? I'm doing fine, thank you. Like, for like 3 minutes, they just have
it reminds me of like when people can get like Alexas or their Google
to talk
to each other.
Yeah.
And it always turns into something weird like world domination.
Yeah,
But
or like destroying
overrides
humanity.
the NASA computer, because the NASA computer's like, we know there's no Max in our database, and it's like, there is now, and he like shoves this little hook thing into the computer.
Does
and
the one machine rapes the other machine?
Yeah, and he like forces Max into the system.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they briefly, after this point, they briefly mention, they're like, oh yeah, some of us are going to be able to sit in the shuttle at some point. So of course, then they just, they're on a bus and they're in the shuttle. There's no like, there's a little bit of them in camp with them like around, like on the, I don't even know what it's called, the little thing they sit on, and it's like anti-gravity, and they like fling around, and there's like a fake shuttle mission that they bomb. Because there's a bunch of technical terms and numbers being thrown around the whole time.
Was this like co-written by someone who was like an actual...
The whole thing is an advertisement for space camp, so if you want to go to space camp, I imagine this movie's awesome.
There was a lot of partnerships in the 80s with companies and businesses with movies, like how Mac and Me was made by McDonald's and stuff.
NASA like 70 times.
Yeah, like it's essentially like they want people to become astronauts, so let's just make a movie and hopefully it'll encourage kids to become astronauts.
Trying to keep NASA relevant, or like, hey, we're still here, we're still trying to do stuff.
Like how when the Army sponsors like Christian values movies about how the Army is great.
They're like, oh god. Yeah. But they're in the cabin, and then they get launched into space.
Oh, don't you hate when you accidentally get launched into space?
Yeah.
Like, ruined your whole weekend.
And the whole time, they're just kind of wearing, like, jumpsuits and, like, big earrings and stuff, because it's the 80s.
Yeah.
And Kate Capshaw's there, and she's the only one that knows what's going on. So,
of course,
she immediately has to leave the capsule to get some sort of oxygen tank from the space station.
Yeah.
Because they don't have enough oxygen to get back to Earth.
So they get to the space station.
Yeah, so they get to the space station, which doesn't have anybody on it because it's being built or something. But they can't. But the oxygen tank is in this big metal web thing, and she can't get to it because she's too big in this suit thing that she's in. So the little boy comes out in the same suit, just really misfitting him, and he can get to the oxygen tank. So now there's the 12-year-old kid in space with Kate Capshaw, and then she like loses grip or gets like away into space, and she's like, oh, I'm flying into space, and then he gets on the little like rocket thing. He's like, I'll come get you, and there's like 7 minutes of of like just like the slowest like chase, I guess, for him to like grab, and then there's like, oh, I can't get, everything's really slow because it's space.
I just want to remind everybody that the scene where they save Matt Damon from Mars in The Martian takes 5 minutes. So they can save someone from an entire planet in less time.
Yeah, but that's
it's
really
just him scooting around.
Yeah.
Trying to save.
That's eventful though, because he's spinning around and
which means they get it done, and it's still entertaining as opposed to just having tiny baby Joaquin Phoenix slowly creeping around space.
And there's because it's John Williams' score with -1. I think
just
because
it was
Eric
Spielberg.
Clapton song on someone's radio at the beginning.
Cocaine.
No, it was something about being a real man and a ready man, or
oh boy,
it was just something man over again. I don't know. But then it was John Williams, so it's got that Jurassic Park Peter Pan.
Dun, dun, dun,
yeah,
dun,
over space, so it's weird first of all, and then but there's no music over that scene, so it's literally just like. I had to pause it at one point and just be like I had to look and see, because I watched it on YouTube, so it was 15-minute increments.
Yeah.
And then you would see the one scene over again on the next video.
Yeah.
Which I don't think deterred from how much I liked it or didn't like it.
Right. You're like, I didn't mind the occasional interruption for a
I had to stop and be like,
commercial.
how much more of this is there? Because they got in space and then they replaced it, and then they're come down from space, and they never land. It just ends with them because they get back into the atmosphere, and NASA's like, okay, you're on autopilot now, and they're like, woohoo, and then it ends.
Really?
Yeah. Also, I'm going to say something. Right. So, how often do you think you woohoo when someone says something? Never, right?
No, I don't.
If you're maybe at a concert or something, you'll woohoo.
Yeah.
But not with if they're like, yeah, we saved Kate Capshaw from space. Do you go, woohoo, yeah, man, yeah, woohoo? Because they do this 7 times in this film. Anytime anything happens.
It takes a lot for me to audibly cheer. One's a kid.
The rest of them are 17 or 18.
Yeah, which means they should be nonplussed.
Also, they're all
they
geniuses.
Whatever.
And they're in space. And they're running out of oxygen, so they're constantly don't talk.
Were they the only ones at space camp, or were they just happen to be the group that...
They're the blue group.
Oh.
So they just happened to
like
get on
the Blue Bombers versus like the Red Cardinals or like
I don't know why they're on this mission.
Maroon Monkeys.
Group 2.
Yeah. They're supposed to be like the bad group because they can't work together, but they got to sit in this shuttle
It's
thing.
like, we put you guys all together because we think that your differences will make a better team. And
there was a thing because in the beginning, Tate Donovan, the mischievous one, he gets in the yellow group, but he wants to get in the blue group because that's where Kelly Preston is, and she's wearing tiny shorts. Yeah, essentially.
Is it just like I just imagine it's like an astronaut spacesuit, but with like Daisy Dukes at the bottom.
Yeah, and she's got like 13 watches on. It's awesome.
She's got like
she's a fashion icon.
A clip-in color in her hair and like big old earrings.
Yeah,
and a couple swatches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he like switches with this Asian guy because he gets yellow and the other one gets blue, and so he switches it so he can be in blue. And nobody says
Asian
anything.
guys in
it's
group yellow.
Never referenced.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, dude, you're supposed to be in this group."
It's never referenced ever again.
His Tate Donovan's character's name's like Adam Chu, and they think he's Asian, so they put him in the yellow group. Because back in the 80s, they didn't give a fuck.
No,
the black group's literally all black people. And you're like, what?
There is one black boy in this.
Yeah.
He doesn't have many lines. When he does, he's like, why are you at space camp? And there's like one scene where it's like, oh, because they're always teasing me about liking science. And then Tate Donovan's like, oh, are you good at science? And he's like, no. That's like the thing is, he's at space camp, but he's bad at science, and it's sad. Like, that's his whole character.
At least it wasn't like, why are you here? And he's like, damn, Jive Turk. That's how they always had them talk in those movies. And you're like, why
I looked him up, too, because I was like, I know
is
this.
Is it like with Oscar Nunez or whatever? Like the one guy who's the black guy and everything in the 80s?
His name is Rudy, which is the name of every...
Wasn't the friend from Good Times, was it?
No. He is the rapping nerd in Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, that guy.
And the whole time I'm like, why do I know this guy? No, he's the effeminate one that raps.
So if they should have just done
Lamar.
If they had done, of course it was Lamar. They had done Revenge of the Nerds, but just sent them to space in one of the sequels.
I would watch that.
They'd have Mars colonized in 2 minutes.
Curtis Armstrong as Booger, just in space, picking his nose through his spacesuit.
You see his arm flapping around, his hand sneak up in his helmet.
Yeah. One of the Carradines. David? The one who's Lizzie McGuire's dad. It's the only reason I know him. And he was in Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Anywho. All right. Any final thoughts on Space Camp? Are you like, damn, I missed that when I was a kid? Or are you like, yeah, my life would have been the same regardless?
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, like I said, if I had wanted to attend Space Camp in the 80s, I imagine it would have been an awesome film for me.
Right. If you were at all into space.
Having it not be in the 80s, nor me ever wanting to go into space or space camp in any way. Yeah. The idea of space freaks me out just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, you would have been 2 when this movie came out, right?
That's true.
So
I probably wouldn't mind being in space.
Well, I don't like. I just saying,
like, you wouldn't. An astronaut at 2. That Joaquin Phoenix can do it. No, but I wouldn't recommend it if you haven't seen it. You probably aren't.
Yeah, you're not missing anything unless you for some reason need to go back and watch all of Leah Thompson's catalog.
Yeah, skip this and go straight to Howard the Duck.
That's a space movie I can get behind.
Yeah,
the Duck. What?
Howard the Duck was... So this one's this offshoot. So Howard the Duck was a movie made by Lucasfilms. So George Lucas made this after the first original 3 Star Wars movies. It was so bad that it bankrupted Lucasfilms, and the only reason he didn't have to shut down and stop making movies entirely was because Steve Jobs was like, hey, I have this company called Apple. We'll buy the rights to your animation that you... or the technology you used to make Howard the Duck and turn it into Pixar. And therefore, it keeps you out of bankruptcy. Yeah. So Pixar became a thing, and George Lucas was able to go ahead and make the prequels a couple years later. Sorry about that, but yeah. So we have Howard the Duck to thank for Pixar, but it's this terrible movie where a duck comes to Earth from outer space.
He's not a real duck. It's just that everybody from his planet looks like ducks.
Yeah, he looks like a duck, but he's like an animated. He looks like a little guy in a suit, and he's and he falls in love with Leah Thompson, who's the head of like a glam rock band. Yeah, and there's a not so easy to watch scene where she makes love with this duck. where there's a metaphor for a erection because the feathers on his head go up.
Yeah, there's a lot of flirting and weird.
There's a scene where you see his duck planet and there's a duck lady taking a bath and she's got full tits.
Yeah.
It's a really bizarre movie, but...
yeah. Well, it's based on a comic book series that is very dirty.
Yeah.
It's like a very dirty,
Did you
dark.
see the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Yeah.
Did you watch past the credits? There's a scene where they go to after the collector or whatever, and it's like, I want to say Howard, was it Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, it's Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
and you see Howard the Duck, and people are like, oh my god, does this make they're making Howard the Duck movie? No, they just wanted to reference it because it's the same. He's technically in that universe that Marvel's in.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, you're not missing anything. Okay, all right. So I watched Space Jam.
Yay, Space Jam!
Now you've seen Space Jam. Have you ever seen Space Jam?
I saw Space Jam when I was younger once, and then did not like it, and spent the rest of the time like angry that it was popular.
So
yeah, I remember being very angry it was popular.
So I've spent years of my life, especially my later adulthood, having people go, "You've never seen Space Jam?" Like Savannah at Epic got mad, like physically mad at me. She's like, "What?" Because she loves this movie, right? So I never saw it. I missed it. I just never saw it when it came out. I didn't feel the need to watch it. And it occurred to me it is because of two reasons. One, I was not a big fan of the Looney Tunes. I don't
communist.
I don't dislike the Looney Tunes, but I never watched it a lot, and I was more of a Tiny Toons person, right?
Okay.
Like I remember watching Tiny Toons when maybe it's just because it was on at a like the right time of day for me. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Tiny
like
Toons
the-
is the same.
the 90s version.
Yeah, but
the
like I
cool
was
kids.
never like a huge Looney Tunes fan. And then sports, particularly Michael Jordan, I was just like, whatever. And so if you don't really like sports or Tiny Toons or to Looney Tunes, there's nothing in this movie for you.
No.
There's Bill Murray.
Knight. Well, that's the thing. So I remember what'd you say?
Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight. That's the thing. I remember when this movie came out, and I remember, okay, so Michael Jordan was the big, and Looney Tunes, and then I never really bothered to like think about anything else about the movie. So when the movie started and the credits came up, first of all, it's Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. It took me so long to not refer to him as Michael B. Jordan. I kept wanting to call him Michael B. Jordan. Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny in Space Jam. Then Wayne Knight. So Bugs Bunny is the only tune that gets credited, and he gets credited above like all the other actual actors.
Real people.
He's the Robert Downey Jr. of the franchise.
Yeah, and then the credits kept going and going and going, and I'm like, there are actually human people in this movie. I thought it was just him and a green screen with a bunch of Looney Tunes, but no, there are actual people in the movie. Mm-hmm. There's a whole secondary plot of the group of basketball players headed by Charles Barkley, who was the only one I recognized, and like 5 other ones, and they get their basketball mojo taken from them, and they're like trying to get back their mojo the whole time. It's like a whole secondary plot I had no idea was a thing. So first of all, I want to start off by saying, so I was like, oh, Space Jam. It's I can find it somewhere, right? It's going to be somewhere. Netflix will have it, Hulu, something like that. No. I had to rent it from Amazon for $2.99. I work at a library. I could have easily probably found it and checked it out for free, but I was like, no, it'll be somewhere. So last night after I left work, I was trying to find it on all these services. And I was like, damn. So I paid $2.99 to watch this through Amazon. First of all, starts right out the gate with "I Believe I Can Fly." They don't even waste time, and it cuts to a young Michael Jordan playing basketball near a trailer in the woods, which I applaud them for not putting him in the ghetto. You know what I mean? So he's literally playing basketball. Yeah, a wooded area on a hill. Right? And he's talking about how one day he's going to be the best basketball player. And the opening credit sequence is essentially a PowerPoint presentation of all the good things all the great things about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Almost like if you were an 8-year-old kid and you had to do a presentation of who your idol was. It was just a PowerPoint over "I Believe I Can Fly" of all the highlights of Michael Jordan's basketball career. So, and they did that, they bring that back at the end, during the end credits, where it's just a PowerPoint of all the, of still images from the movie. It looks like a it doesn't even look like it's, a professional, it fades, an actual edit. It looks like a PowerPoint, you almost want to hear, cha-ching, cha-ching, an old slideshow between the clips. But yeah, there's just, there's way more people. I didn't realize Wayne Knight was in it at all, which I kept calling him Newman.
Yeah. And he's the unsung hero of this movie.
Yeah, no, it's his
because he shows up, and I feel so bad for Wayne Knight because he was like the dumb fat guy in things for so long, and everyone always picked on him because he's that. I mean, it can tell you how society's changed. He's not even really that fat, but he was fat by 90s standards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like he's introduced by being like a clumsy fat guy who's a publicist for baseball players, right? Which I didn't think was a thing. Like I get like teams having publicists.
Mm-hmm. I think individual players have like publicists,
which I was surprised because it starts off and he's ended his basketball career and started playing baseball, which was a real thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody wanted him, like no one cared the fact that he played in baseball. I think he did it for maybe a season, 2 seasons,
maybe.
But I think that they wanted to like appeal to Michael Jordan, so they're like, oh, we'll talk about how you play baseball now. He's like, oh, okay,
and how you really sucked.
Yeah, and everybody's really nice to you because they like you a lot, so they want to help you out. Poor Michael Jordan, everyone's just being nice to him the whole time, and he's like frustrated by it.
The catcher's helping him out, like, don't swing.
Yeah, he's like, I told you not to swing. Yeah, and so Wayne Knight's like, hey, I really like you. I want to be a publicist. And he's like, oh, okay. And then it just proceeds to be the only one that cares about him this whole time. He's introduced that he's got a wife and 3 children and a mother-in-law, and yet he goes missing in Toontown for like a week and a half, and nobody goes to find him except for Newman, who's the only one willing to like literally dig underground to find him. Which, by the way, did you guys realize that the Toons lived underground?
No, I did not remember
that. It is implied that they just live underground.
And
They literally, they suck him through the hole in the golf course, which Bill Murray and Larry Bird, so when it starts out, I see Charles Barkley. I see Charles Barkley and then a bunch of other basketball players from the 90s I don't recognize, but I know they're basketball players because they deliver lines terribly. So that's how I knew they were professional athletes. And then I'm like, well, I don't know anyone else from the 90s except for, who was like Shaquille O'Neal or Larry Bird, and then bam, Larry Bird shows up. And by the way, I would watch a whole movie that was just Bill Murray and Larry Bird like palling around like buddy cop style. Because and Bill Murray, I don't know if they gave him a script or if they even told him it was a kid's movie, because he just shows up and starts talking, and based on the reactions of the other people in the scene, they have no idea what he's going on about. There's a line where he's talking to Michael Jordan, and he's like, can I play basketball? And he's like, no, you can't. And Bill Murray goes, is it because I'm white? And he goes, no, because Larry's white. And he goes, Larry's not white, Larry's clear. Which I don't know. Which is just like... And you just like, and then Michael Jordan, they had to cut real quickly because I think the impression Michael Jordan like did just, really acted that way. But he gets sucked down the hole in the golf course. And Wayne Knight's like, oh no, let's figure this out. The other 2 just leave. They're like, whatever, he'll be fine. And so he gets sucked underground through the ground through a giant WB logo, which appears several times in the movie in case you forget who made this film.
Made Looney Tunes, yeah.
Into Toontown or wherever it's supposed to be, right? And and it's just underground, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess I just took it as that's like he's going through like a wormhole, like a portal.
I just assumed it was hell.
Well, he gets there and
hell is Looney Tune land.
It's set up because there's an alien planet that's just a giant amusement park. There's one planet with just a giant amusement park, and the guy who runs it, who is Danny DeVito, not the actual Danny DeVito, but voiced by Danny DeVito.
Short and stout.
Yeah, has a bunch of tiny little shrimp-looking dude alien things, and he's like, nobody wants to drive all the way to a planet to go to an amusement park, so we need to bring a big pull. And for some reason, the TV that they get only broadcast Looney Tunes, so they're like, yeah, go to Earth and find the Looney Tunes. So that's what they send them to do. And when they get there, these little shrimp guys are like, hey, we're gonna steal you. They don't ask them nicely. They just say, we're gonna kidnap you, take you to this planet. And the Looney Tunes are like, no, don't do that. We'll play a game of basketball against you, and if we win, you have to leave, and if we lose, then you can take us. Even though nobody knows how to play basketball. Like, the Looney Tunes then realize they have no idea how to play basketball. And they only challenge them because they're physically tinier. And they think, oh, they're short, therefore they must not be good at basketball. I don't know. It seems so pushed that it has to be basketball. And so then they have to go get Michael Jordan to help them learn how to play basketball. And there's a not so slight metaphor for steroid use, because these little tiny alien creatures go up to the surface and they steal all the basketball abilities from these other basketball players and then inject it into themselves where they become more muscular and more full of rage.
And taller.
Yeah.
So,
really big.
yeah, and so then they become really violent, and not only do they steal the basketball abilities, but they essentially leave a lot of these basketball players, like, paralyzed. Like, they can't, like, function, like, they don't have, like, depth perception or anything anymore. And so they spend the rest of the time wandering around all sad, challenging, like, kids to basketball games and not being very good at it. Like, they literally have nothing else in their lives. Poor Charles Barkley. And, yeah, and so then there's a training montage. I assume
there's also the Wonder Juice or whatever.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan's secret stuff.
He convinces them, Bugs convinces them all to take water that he tells them is like a performance enhancing supplement, and they all play better, and then you realize it's water. And it's like, oh, so you just tell them placebo effect, right? That's a good thing to teach kids. There's a great reference to General Patton. There's a Pulp Fiction reference. You know, things in kids' movies that a lot of these 10-year-olds would have really got.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then there proceeds to be just half the movie's just a really long CGI'd animated basketball game. My favorite, it's about halfway through and they pull him down and it's like, oh, now the real movie begins because it's Michael Jordan, who is not an actor, acting against a green screen and a bunch of animals that aren't there. And he's either like the chillest guy on the planet or he like had no director at all because he does not reach peak, like he doesn't peak past like 2%. He's just like, well, I don't know how to do like he's does not freak out in the slightest that he's suddenly in this like toon dimension asked to play basketball. He's just like, oh, okay, like he just doesn't give a shit. But yeah, it was he's also really poor in the movie. Like he's supposed to be Michael Jordan. He's supposed to be the Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Not
He's
like
got a big house.
No, he doesn't. He has like an average house. He has like an average house. He there's a scene where he's in a hotel that looks straight up like a Motel 6. Like we're talking Michael Jordan after he left the Chicago Bulls. He was an Olympic athlete at this point. The man would have lived in a mansion on his own island with
Yeah, he got paid. Air Jordans, man. He
yeah,
paid a lot of money.
I don't know what he was doing with all that money. Maybe he was hoarding it or something because he was living a very comfortable lifestyle. And he had those 3 kids who, like, other than, like, yeah, nobody really cared. He didn't really, like, they were doing their own thing and he wasn't showing up to any of their events. And there was a scene where the Bugs and Daffy go to his house to get his stuff, and his kids like see him like Santa on Christmas morning, and they're all dressed like they remind me of the 3 kids from Peter Pan. So they're wearing like nightgowns and like and they're like, you know, like they're waiting to think happy thoughts and fly. I thought for a second they would go back down with him, but he just leaves them there.
Peter Pan's Disney. We can't have that.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. I kept thinking it was Disney, and then I was like, no, it's WB, because they kept showing the stupid logo over again. Those weird tiny alien things seemed to me like they were like the first draft of the Minions. Like, they're like, I kind of like this, but let's make them talk less and look like giant Twinkies. Because you know if this movie was made now, those little alien creatures would have gotten 4 or 5 spin-off movies at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah,
and Bill Murray is, by the way, is in it for like 2 minutes. He literally has like 2 minutes. He's in the beginning, then he comes back. He's there for like 2 seconds, like 30 seconds of the game, and then he's gone. And then they bring Michael Jordan back, and they like suddenly everyone's now excited to watch him play baseball. Really? No one
Because he
cares.
comes down on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? That's not going to cause repercussions to find out aliens exist now and the Looney Tunes are real. Because there's a scene where they're watching them on TV. So they know that they're a toon. Now they find out they're real and they're aliens. I'm just saying, this is what leads to the apocalypse.
The conspiracy that has to occur for them to be a televised series and also existing in a secret underground world without the regular population knowing would have to be vast. Like the president would have to know.
That would have to be something that goes straight to the top.
Yeah. I could see the sequel as just being like an espionage thriller.
Yeah. I would love to see this trailer.
The U.S. government tries to invade Looneyland.
Yeah.
Toonland.
They have cartoon oil. So
I would love to see this trailer recut as a drama. Like, as a real serious, like, suspense thriller.
Ooh.
I would also like to see a recut of it of all the Wayne Knight scenes of him, like, just being really creepy on on Michael Jordan. Like, just like, I'm your biggest fan. Like, just put a creepy music in the background.
Spun a different way. It's kind of like not really a like horror story, but I mean, it's a kidnap story. They kidnap him. They force him
to play basketball.
Like, entertain them.
Yeah.
Basically, and then they have other people trying to come in and take them over.
There's a lot of violence in the movie. But near the end of the game, it essentially turns into like a Harlem Globetrotter style, where they just are like playing pranks on each other and like violently thrashing and like smushing each other. And then there's a scene where they smush Wayne Knight, and I think, oh God, he's not a Toon. Does he really die? And they're like, oh no. And then they reveal to Michael Jordan that when you're in Toontown, you can do weird shit like that. So he manages to dunk by stretching his arm at the end. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like they're like really fast and loose with the rules of this universe.
Yeah.
But I was interested. So it was produced by Ivan Reitman, which really surprised me, because Ivan Reitman, who's produced tons and tons of films, some including, I wrote down a couple just to put it in context of the type of movies that this man produces. He produced Uninvited, he produced Disturbia, and the movie Hotel for Dogs. So, he like sees a broad spectrum of movies that he likes to do. And I also was going through the IMDb trivia just to see if I could see anything. And the reason Bill Murray was in it was because he was friends with Ivan Reitman. And he's like,
really?
Ivan Reitman's like, hey, can you come do my movie? You'll be filming for like 2 days. He's like, yeah,
Just get $6 million.
Yeah, pretty much. But the whole concept of this was based on the fact that there was a commercials series in the early 90s where Michael Jordan was playing basketball against Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
And that was the sole reason they're like, we should take those commercials and make a whole movie out of it. But there was also a series of commercials where Bill Murray was trying to become a professional basketball player but couldn't. Like, it was a joke that he was trying to play with all these professionals and was terrible. I don't remember what it was for. If it was for, like, a product or if it was just for basketball awareness. I don't know, in case you forget. But I just like how the majority of this film came together because of a series of commercials.
There was... Wasn't there, a moment when Daffy Duck goes up to Bill Murray and he's like, how did you get here anyway? And Bill Murray starts going about how his agent knew someone else and asked if he wanted to do it.
Which, again, is no script. He just answered the question.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I know the producer. He literally says that in the movie.
Oh my God, I just got that.
Yeah. There's also a scene where he shows up and the announcer at the Toon basketball game goes, oh, great, now Dan Aykroyd's here. Again, a reference that a lot of 10-year-olds would have gotten. I mean, overall, I'm not mad I watched it. Like, it's good to now have that, so I stopped getting those weird looks from people. And I didn't not enjoy it. Like, it had its... I'm sure if I was younger and I was really into the Toons or really into Michael Jordan, like, it would have really spoke to me. Or and there are the moments, like a lot of kids' movies, where it's, like, a funny, like, catchphrase or, like, like, oh my God, Porky Pig said it, and he said it in that Porky Pig way. Like, that would have been really fun if you were, like, 6 or 8 years old.
It was all brainwashing.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I watched it.
It made me
like it. It was everywhere for, like, 2 solid
and
years.
it reminded me of that kind of resurgence of the Looney Tunes in the 90s, where suddenly, like, full-grown adults were getting Tweety Bird t-shirts. Yeah. Or how you remember you used to be able to go to, like, Walmart and you could get, like, the pack for your car where it was, like, the steering wheel cover and the seat covers. And they had Tasmanian devils on them. Or those one jackets, starter jackets, where you used to have the sports team, but you could get, like, animals, like the tiny, like the Looney Tunes on them. And it reminded me of all of that stuff that when that became popular, like in the 90s, and everybody was into it again.
They re-released all the Saturday morning cartoons and stuff.
Yeah. All the non-racist ones.
Like Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Directly from the popularity of Space Jam, so hope you realize that.
And, of course, it's a well-known fact that you can still go to the spacejam.com website, and it looks exactly as it did in 1996, so if you want to see the graphics and the...
I remember 1996, I don't need to go.
Yeah, it wasn't even that, didn't feel like that long ago.
No.
And but it had a lot of those tropes that a lot of kids' movies from the 90s had, so that was, wasn't super creative in that respect.
It had Lola Bunny, I remember.
Yes, and there's that scene where she walks in and it plays like a sexy tune and she's wearing hot shorts. I watched this, after I watched this, I watched Ladybugs because it was on free on Roku TV, and they just did it on How Did This Get Made? And oh my God, I can't, there's There's a lot of kids movies I remember watching as a kid that you go back and you're just like, oh, this is terrible for women and minorities. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I never realized that as a kid. There's a scene in Ladybugs where 13-year-old Vanessa Shaw is running in a bikini. And I was watching it as an adult in my apartment thinking, oh God, I feel like I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. It's a slow motion scene of her running in a bikini. She's 12.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Something's wrong with that.
Yep. Plus it made me miss Jonathan Brandis. Anyway. Yeah. So Space Jam. So now I've watched it so everyone can shut up about it.
Would you recommend Space Jam to those who
I think if you had a kid now and you sat them down in front of Space Jam, I think it would hold up.
Yeah. Kids are dumb.
Even if they don't remember, even if they've never seen Looney Tunes or know who Michael Jordan is.
Yeah.
I really wanted Michael Jordan's young son to be Michael B. Jordan, but it wasn't.
No, they're not related.
No, not at all.
No.
But anyway. I think it holds up for the most part, and obviously the CGI and the animation, the computer graphics look very dated now, but not in a way that takes you out of it.
Still pretty good.
Because it was the cutting edge at the time. It kind of looks like you take something like Space Jam or like a kid's bubblegum commercial from the same time, and it kind of looks similar. Like it's not really it doesn't stand out as like a movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not bad. The only scenes where it starts to kind of fall apart is when they have to mix reality with the animation. Like there's a scene where Michael Jordan shakes the hand of one of the tunes, and you're like, how many millions of dollars do they spend on the scene of him shaking an animated character's hand? Oh, yeah. Because you can definitely tell that costs a lot of money to do.
You had to do it just right, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. But,
I mean, they did that pretty well, where I think in... maybe Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, that's another one where
someone grabs pretty well. Someone grabs a animated creature or whatever, but they hold it and you can tell that they're holding something fake.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it's not like they have their hands right.
But nowadays they would CGI the whole thing and then just put a real person's face over it.
Like
they would go over and above to do it. But I will say, soundtrack still legit, right?
Well, it had. I believe I can fly.
I believe I can fly. The Space Jam song. Welcome to the Space Jam, which I forgot about till the beginning. And it had essentially what Jock Jams became.
Yeah.
Every are you ready for this? Dun-dun-dun. Every Jock Jams tune in this movie was in it at some point. In fact, the end scene with the credits, it's one line into another line into another line of they wanted to use all the songs on the soundtrack, so they all played them over the credits, and a cover by Seal, but I don't remember what song it is. And there's a scene where it's Basketball Jones, but I can't think of anyone singing other than Dad. He used to sing Basketball Jones all the time. Yeah, but so the soundtrack still really holds up. I remember that being a huge thing about the movie. Mm-hmm. But I can't hear I Believe I Can Fly without thinking of R. Kelly peeing on people.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that just ruined it for me.
Whenever I hear it, I just think of Space Jam.
I think of that music video where it's him with a bunch of kids in a chorus, and he's conducting them, and now in retrospect I think, oh, how many kids of those did he sleep with? You know what I mean?
Him in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Where he's just in a cornfield with his arms out.
Yep. He's wearing an oversized Tommy Hilfiger sweater and baggy pants
because blowing in the wind.
And he's like, I believe.
There was a good song. Wind in the 90s.
There was. What's the thing was your shirt's open and you jump up and down and the wind's take it. Yeah. But.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I don't know about you two, but I liked this idea. I think we should do these more to come with other, kind of.
Yeah. I think maybe we should do the same movie next time if possible.
Right? Maybe if it's something all of us haven't seen, or a theme kind of it with space a little bit.
That's going to be a stretch with you, Anna.
Well, there are some that I definitely have missed. That list that I saw that Jean had, there were a couple of them that I was just like, oh, I never saw that one. Saw that one. But
let's see if you can get further than I can down it.
You never saw Heavyweights. You said that.
I didn't. I have never seen Heavyweights. I feel like I would.
That one. I mean, it's hard. And that's the thing. It's hard to say because, I remember watching it as a kid, and I've watched it recently as an adult, and I would say it holds up. But at the same time, if I had never seen it as a kid, would I have liked it?
I don't like. What's his face? That asshole character he does.
Oh, how Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller.
Well, it was written by. It was written by Judd Apatow.
See, and
so it's early Judd Apatow, but it's a kids movie.
I don't think I like camp.
No.
I think that's what I'm
Movies set in
today.
camps are usually not that, like,
No,
easy to
unless
watch.
they're getting murdered, I
Yeah.
don't want to see camp.
But a lot of times it's tricky because
Unless there's a bunch of children being murdered.
Right?
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
camp
they're-
out of
they're
my
all-
movie.
They're all over sex teens, you know, it's fine. They never murder actual children. But like it's hard when you have like a movie that is pretty well known, like, and that a lot of kids who end up watching as children, then you meet adults who've never seen them and you show them and they don't get it because they weren't young enough when they saw it. Like, I run into this problem with Sarah all the time. So like the other day we made her, Royal and I made her watch Trading Moms, which is a movie. Does this ring any bells? It's a movie from the early 90s about these 3 kids, and their mom's played by Sissy Spacek, and they like, she's just essentially a single mom, so she's like constantly stressed and like, clean up after your, like, she's not really a crazy mom. For some reason they all don't like her. So they decide, so they go to their crazy neighbor lady who's like a witch, who's like, and there's like, we want a different mom, and she's like, well, you can just wish her away and then go to the mommy market and pick out another mommy. And so they're like, okay. So they wish her away. They say the enchantment. And the next day they wake up and they remember they had a mom, but they don't remember anything about her. So they go to the mommy market and they get 3 tokens, because one for each kid. And they get to try out 3 different moms. And so the one picks a mom and she's to this. And the other one picks a mom and she's to this. And at the end, if they don't stick with a mom, then they just become orphans for the rest of their lives.
Oh my god.
You know, spoiler alert, they get the mom back at the end. But it's one of those movies that, like, I remember watching as a kid, and because one mom's like a circus performer and one's like this French, you know, there's all these like heightened, and they're all played by the same actress. So there's like this theatrical thing to it. And I really enjoyed it as a kid, even though I never really had a moment where I was like, man, that would be awesome to switch my mom. Because I remember thinking, no, because you don't know what you're going to get, you know?
Yeah.
But we saw it and we literally watched it this week. And so Sarah saw it at 30 and was like, this is a fucked up movie. and Royal and I are like, no, it's cute, because blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, why? And she's got her own children now. So it's like she's coming from it at the mom's perspective of like, she just wanted them to clean their rooms. Why do they hate her so much? So it's weird when you like get these like, what you feel is like a classic kids movie, and you show it to an adult. Like, I don't think you'd like Heavyweights because you didn't see it as a kid.
No.
Even if you saw it as a kid and watched it later, probably would still kind of like it.
I remember seeing previews for it as a kid and still thinking, no, I'm not going to like that.
Yeah.
So I doubt I would like it now.
Right? I don't know. And there's like scenes where and you think, oh, this is like a funny scene where they like tie that guy to a tree. Oh, God. You know what I mean? Well, I like to think of the Ben Stiller character as the same character that he plays in Dodgeball, even though they've got different names, because it is essentially the same character. But I was like, yeah, he ran an unsuccessful fat camp and then went crazy and opened his own gym. Like, I like to think of it as Dodgeball as a sequel to Heavyweight.
He's my least favorite thing about Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Like, I like everything else about
Even
the movie.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Vince Vaughn's Vince Vaughn.
I liked it all up until the very end where he kisses the girl, and her girlfriend comes out and she kisses her, and he's like, oh, you're lesbian? She's like, no, I'm bisexual, and then she kisses him.
Yeah.
They literally had me until that point.
Yeah.
And then Steve the Pirate comes back, and I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I just watched a
right.
movie about Steve the Pirate.
I'd watch Alan Tudyk do pretty much anything.
Anything. Yeah, I would just put surveillance videos in his house.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the character wasn't even written as a pirate, but he showed up, did a pirate accent. They're like, okay, just do that for the rest of the movie.
He's a treasure.
Yeah. I want to see him as all my robots.
Yeah.
Because he was iRobot.
He was iRobot. He was a robot in Star Wars, too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
One of the beep beeps. Was he the beep beep?
No, he was like an R2-D2 type robot.
Oh, okay.
Or C-3PO, whatever, the one that's like the man.
C-3PO.
Yeah.
I think.
Because R2-D2 is the trash can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of those like men android
Okay.
things. Anyway.
Did you spend the whole time just doing the accent?
I never saw it. It was in Rogue One. I didn't watch
either.
it. Well, we'll wait another 30 years and I'll watch it, and then we'll do another podcast on it.
Deal.
How I missed Rogue One. Oh, no. Anyway, that's about space. Space!
The ultimate frontier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think there's more that the ocean has to offer. We still have to discover all the creepy stuff below, and we're going
a lot
up
more
to space.
creatures that we know.
According
that we
to
know are probably down
Sequest,
there.
there is.
Do you say Sequest or Seacrest?
Sequest.
Oh, okay.
Sequest.
Oh, Jonathan Brand.
Yeah. Roy Schneider.
Yeah, he knows about the sea.
A handful of DeLuises.
With the DeLuise with any of the weird
Yeah, there were two different DeLuises. The big one and the little one.
How can you not love a show? It's set,
the little one had gills.
Set in a
big one was a
submarine with two DeLuises.
Right?
It just seems like a recipe for success. That.
And there was a talking dolphin
Of course there was.
named Darwin.
It was essentially
I
like
don't remember
it was
that.
Star Trek, but in underwater.
Yeah, but underwater.
Yeah.
And there were like it was the future, so there were people like living underwater, but it was still I don't know. There was a bunch of nuclear bombs and stuff too.
Did they ever have a crossover episode where they met on land?
They occasionally were on land, but they never crossovered with like NCIS or anything.
No, I was gonna say like Star Wars, like Deep Space Nine, because they were always not Deep Space Nine, the one with Picard.
Enterprise.
Anyway,
Yeah.
where because they were in land a lot for being space
Yeah, but they were also on alien planets in the future.
and on the holodeck.
Yeah, this was strictly on in Earth's ocean like 20 years from like now set essentially 2012.
Yeah, like
how
they're like it's in the future in 2004. And you're like, oh great, 1998, the future. Yeah.
Carmen.
That cat meow means it's the end of our episode.
That's the signal for the wrap up.
All right. Final thoughts.
try new things,
Yeah.
Watch
but
new
don't
movies.
get your hopes up.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to
Because they'll
go
probably suck.
to go back and watch a movie.
But what else are you doing in your
That you
life? You
missed
might
it.
as well watch something from the 80s that you didn't
Yeah.
see
And
before.
I'm sorry, guys, but TV currently is overrated. Not every single program that Netflix puts out is a good show. I'm just going to
No.
say that right now. You don't have to watch House of Cards. Even before Kevin Spacey, you don't have to watch Cards. So you can miss a couple of them. You're going to be fine. Go back, watch some older stuff occasionally. Don't fixate so much on every single brand new thing that comes out.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Watch the classics.
Yeah.
Or the not so classics.
Yeah. Watch the space camps of
Just
the world.
whatever pops up in your YouTube shirts. Just
Right.
watch that.
Make it a point. There's a challenge where you watch a movie and then you watch another movie, but you have to watch a movie that has somebody from the first movie you watched in it, and you continue along that chain. But you can't repeat movies.
Ooh.
So I'm just saying, you're watching a movie, it's got Joaquin Phoenix in it, go watch Space Camp. You know what I mean? Like,
Don't watch Space Camp.
well, you know what I mean. You're watching something, it has, they're watching a Bulls game in the Ghosties.
If you're watching Space Camp, it's got Joaquin Phoenix in it, stop watching Space Camp.
Yeah. Stop watching Joaquin Phoenix movies because the man does not need any more of a
Yeah.
career. Yeah. Watch River Phoenix. He died before he was able to rape anybody.
Yeah, he only made like 6 films, so
Yeah.
you can watch them.
He was the James Dean of his time.
On that note,
Dead teen idols. Sorry.
That could be your
Terrible
theme.
mistake.
Just watch movies with dead people in them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those.
People like the 27 Club, only for
Yeah.
actors.
Only for actors.
Yeah. It's a bunch
I
of
like
people
to
that
watch
die by
Robert Downey
27.
Jr. films and try to decide what drug he's on.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, watch a movie with an actor who was at the height of their addiction during it.
Yep.
See when
Heart
you can...
and Souls, if you've never seen this movie.
Yeah.
Heart and Souls.
There's Kira Sedgwick in it, who I kept thinking of every time you said Kate Capshaw.
It's the same difference. I think Kira Sedgwick is better than Kate Capshaw because she doesn't... I don't hate her.
Yeah. She's got that... Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Closer. Speaking of ending the episode.
closer.
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 Till next time.
Donka bitches.
Donka bitches.
Donka bitches.